Dr. Seijiro Takeshita, he's a professor at the School of Management and Information at the University of Shizuoka and is joining us now live. Doctor, good to have you on the program with us. You know, it was known that Abe has health issues. He resigned, as we know, in 2007 because of this. Also, the Japanese do have a very strong work ethic, and there's the mentality of not giving up. Do you think that the prime minister has fallen victim to this type of mentality?
Well, I guess so. I mean, he hasn't had vacation for more than 500 days, I heard. So obviously, he is a man with a very strong responsibility. So obviously, one of the typical Japanese work ethics or responsibility had been, too much on his shoulders. That could be one of the reasons why it has exacerbated his illness, quite unfortunately.
hmm Abe's years in power were all about the desire to save his economic legacy, known as Abenomics, to pull Japan out of decades of deflation. Do you think that he has succeeded in this, and what will be his overall legacy in Japan?
I don't think he succeeded in getting us out of the deflationary conditions, but he did a wonderful job in dragging us out of the nightmarish management by the previous party, which was Democratic Party of Japan, which put Japan into tatters or almost into tatters, and he revived that by, one of his first three arrows. And people criticize him for not, achieving all three arrows, but his third arrow is structural transformation, and that takes a long, long time. So I think we have yet to see. And I think people have been too harsh on him in many sense. I think he did a great job, particularly in, foreign affairs. He was able to have continuously a very good tie with the Americans when President Trump was in power, which was an amazing feat. And in spite of the geopolitical tension that we have with China, it continued to warm up the pipeline on the economic side. So all in all, I think he did a great job as far as foreign policy is concerned. Internal side, of course, as you just reported, there are some problems. But, overall, he wouldn't have been, the longest serving prime minister if he hadn't done a good job. And I think his legacy will be quite positive overall in the future.
What position is he leaving Japan in? Because as I mentioned before we came to you, the country is in the middle of a pandemic, as is the rest of the world. And Shinzo Abe himself has said that it's gut-wrenching to leave before achieving all of his goals. So, I mean, where is Japan in this moment as Shinzo Abe is resigning? And what will be some of the challenges his successor will face?
It's a very, very tricky situation. As you say, COVID-19, everyone is affected. But in case of Japan, we have a problem because of geopolitical tension that I was mentioning to you about that is very aggressive from China. And the fact of the matter is, we're going to be in the middle of the second Cold War between the United States and China. We have a very strong pipeline in economy with China, but obviously, if you look at it from security reasons, obviously we have to see a strong leadership and strong coalition in the Western alliances, which we aren't seeing because of the U.S. presidency. Which may change in November, but we don't know yet. So Japan is in a very, very tricky situation. Of course, we've always been in a tricky situation as far as security and economy and the balance of that is concerned. But this time around, this is mingled with the COVID-19, with the reaffirmation of the Western coalition. So this is becoming very, very difficult, where the new prime minister has to balance very well on the political issue, on the foreign issues, as well as the domestic economic side.
Shinzo Abe, as we know, came from a long lineage of other prime ministers. What direction do you think politics in Japan will take? Do you think we'll see more of the same in the future, or a different pattern?
Well, I'd like to see more competition. I mean, the problem with Japan is we don't have any competition in politics. I'd like to see a very strong opposing party which would question the policies of, LDP, but, we don't have that. So unfortunately, or fortunately, we'll continue to see, the reign by the LDP. And I'd like to think that there needs to be a lot of changes, including, for example, immigration policies and a lot of, future, I would say, policy towards innovation. All these things has to be altered and renovated in Japan as people are starting to realize, especially from this COVID-19, when we realize that we're behind in many places in the world. So, I think the new prime minister would have a very hard job in trying to put a jab in the arm of many Japanese under this current circumstance.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Dr. Seijiro Takeshita, thank you.